Hello, everyone. This is Michaelangelo Hamilton with the Michaelangelo Hamilton Show, and we have a great candidate here tonight. We have Samantha Magdaleno. Did I pronounce that right?
Magdaleno, yes, close.
Magdaleno. Okay, close enough. She's running for state representative in Detroit in Michigan. Thank you so much for joining the program.
No
Let's make
problem.
sure here we're live and everything was working out fine because, sometimes you can't hear and stuff like that. So let's see here. Reloading. Okay, looks like we're live. Okay. All right. Now let's see here. Okay. Still loading. Can you guys hear? Oh, it's like not refreshing. Uh-oh.
Technical difficulties all the time.
I know, like Facebook, what, they don't like us?
No, they don't like me.
I
They're
guess
gonna give me the most trouble.
maybe it's, I gotta put a full screen. Let's see. Hey, Joy. Hey, Mateo. Can you hear us? Sounds like they hear us.
Okay, cool.
So hopefully that's a good thing. Let me
Awesome.
see here. Maybe on my phone I could pull it up real quick. Okay, all right. So everyone can hear us. Awesome. So thank you so much for joining us, Samantha. I know you have a busy schedule for elections coming up. So talk to us about what you're doing over there in Michigan and how do you start running for office?
Well, yeah, it's really busy over here. Primaries are actually on Tuesday, and I guess I started running for office because I looked at the current government. I looked at Trump and his administration, and I just realized that we need to get good, authentic, transparent people into office. And when I looked around, a lot of my friends that are community organizers across the country have always been intimidated to get involved in politics. They've always been told that you need big money when it comes to politics and that, there's a certain type of person that needs to run. And I guess I just decided to break that barrier and go for it and be the guinea pig, if you will, and be that community organizer that actually runs a total grassroots organizing type of campaign. I don't accept any corporate money, no PAC money, just all individual donations. And really, my community came to me, and they were the ones that really pressured me into running for this campaign. Actually, I didn't even think about it. Like, to be honest, the deadline was in mid-April, and my community members came to me that were undocumented in the beginning of April, and they were like, "Hey, we need you to run." And it was like April 1st, I believe. It was like April Fool's Day, and I was like, "Oh yeah, haha, funny." And they're like, "No, we're being serious." And April 3rd, we went into it
Right.
and we filed, we paid the fee, and I started to run.
Oh, that's amazing. So, the community actually motivated you to run. So I hear there's a lot of important issues up there, especially with Flint and everything that's going on over there. Talk to us a little bit about what's going on and what exactly this district needs in a representative.
So District 6 is a unique district. It's very gerrymandered. It's redistrict. So it is a city called Ecorse, River Rouge, and then the bottom half of Detroit, which includes a little bit of Southwest Detroit, which actually, when they gerrymandered or they drew the redistricting lines, Southwest Detroit is predominantly Latino. But when they redrew the lines, they actually cracked the Latino vote in half. So we have a little bit of Southwest Detroit, east side of Detroit, um, downtown, and Midtown, which downtown is the more affluent part of Detroit. So you have like the most affluent part of Detroit mixed with the most ignored parts of the district. So Ecorse, River Rouge, 48217, which is also part of Southwest Detroit demographically, but there's a little bit of a rip there. So you have like this, like I said, unique district that has, man, we need everything. Our education system is broken here. Detroit is literally the only city in Michigan that we are allowed to have uncertified teachers teaching our students here. So
Wow.
we've actually had some of my students have gone 6 months without a proper math teacher, which brings them way behind, which brings their SAT scores way behind. It means when they get into college, they're not up to par, they're not ready. Because of our education systems, Betsy DeVos got her start actually here in Michigan with the charter schools. They're not being held accountable, so education is huge here. Pollutions, we're one of the highest polluted areas in actually the United States. We have one of the highest asthma rates, if not the highest asthma rate, because we have Marathon, we have huge oil companies here, and like literally when you drive into our cities, you can see all of the huge companies just polluting everywhere. And we actually have a second bridge to Canada that's coming in, and this guy Matty Maroon wants to build a third one just for fun. So imagine all of those huge trucks that are going to come in. And so, yeah, we have a lot of issues. And then they're trying to build these bridges actually in Southwest Detroit. So when you have another bridge going into Canada, that actually means more border patrol that they're going to try to bring in here. And again, Southwest Detroit is predominantly Mexican, predominantly Latino. We have a big undocumented population here. So you're going to start breaking up families, you're terrorizing families because you're putting this huge border patrol station right in the middle of our community. So it's tough out here. It's real tough. It's very, very tough. And every area has their unique issues, and just basically all the long-term residents in Ecorse, River Rouge, and Detroit have been ignored and have been pushed to the side. And gentrification is another huge issue here, where new residents are given priority, and all of the older residents, despite them voting, despite them turning out and really advocating for themselves, like they're constantly brushed to the side.
Wow, so it's a lot of problems.
Yes.
So is there anything that the current representative is doing, or is he like bought off, special interest?
So Stephanie Chang she's done quite a few things. She's pushed progressive policies. When it comes to her vote, I would say most of the time she's on the right side of ethics and morals. She stood up to the mayor here, which is Mayor Duggan, who is bought off, paid for, like, doesn't come more corrupt than Duggan. Like, that, our mayor of Detroit is the worst. But she has actually stood up against him, stood up to his policies. Auto insurance is a huge issue here. We have the top highest auto insurance rates, and especially here in Detroit. They use zip codes and they use credit scores to hike up your auto insurance. So there are folks that pay more for auto insurance than their actual car notes. And Mayor Duggan proposed a bill that was going to lower auto insurance, but it didn't address any of the redlining, any of the systematic racism that companies' auto insurance uses to raise up prices. So basically, he wasn't going to help any of us folks out. And Stephanie Chang actually voted against this bill. So I'm glad that she does that. And now she's running for Senate. So that's why it's an open seat, and that's why I'm running.
Okay, very interesting. So there's a lot of problems, and some of them are not being addressed. They kind of like do a half fix. That kind of like what's going on,
It's always a Band-Aid fix. I mean, I can say every single Democrat that is in office right now, there is not one Democrat that I know that's actually going to stand up for the people relentlessly, that's actually going to go to Lansing and every day say, you know what, this is a problem, like, I'm going to sit here and annoy you because you're personally affecting my residents. They're more, they try to be buddies with each other, and they try to like smooth it over, and we just don't need that right now.
Absolutely. So I remember your videos. You're very out. You're out there. You do a lot of good activism. So talk to us about a little bit about the activism that you've been doing for the last couple of years. I saw you at Standing Rock and good stuff like that.
Yeah, so I've been doing activism work, geez, since I was 15 in high school. I started with Family Career Community Leaders of America. Um, just a really fancy name for like we wanted to be leaders when we grew up. And it focused a lot on families though, and focused on young children and how to value preschool education, and that's basically what it was around. And then I got started with immigration work back in 2010. And that's where really my main focus was. I've done a lot of work with women's rights. I've worked with Cecile Richards, the former president of Planned Parenthood. She's actually a good friend of mine, mentored me. Whenever I was having issues, I'd like email her like, "Hey Cecile, like, what do I do in this situation?" She's just great. And I did some LGBT rights stuff. My uncle actually started the first Latino LGBT club here in Detroit, so I've always had that close to my heart. And then with, like I said, with immigration, I got involved with that, and I just fully got divulged into it. And as the years started going on, I started realizing that we didn't have the numbers with immigration, working on immigration. We didn't have the numbers with Mexican American rights, because a lot of people, when they talk about immigrants, they always talk about Mexicans. And that's why I always say, like, it's not just an immigration issue, it's a race issue, and it's a direct attack against us Mexican Americans, because there's been so many times where Border Patrol has gotten ticked off at me and they're like, "We're going to deport you." And I'm like, "Okay, I could use a free trip back home. I haven't seen my grandma in a while. Like, Michigan, here I come from Texas." So, that's just work that I've been doing. I did sit-ins at the Department of Labor because they were actually going to deport this man, and he qualified for a U visa, which is a visa that you could get if you were a victim of a crime in the United States. And we actually set the precedent for U visas to include wage theft. So that was really interesting. That was back in 2013. I got arrested there, and all my charges were dropped. And then later, as the time went on, I really started focusing on intentionally mentoring youth and community organizing. So I started doing fellowships every summer. This summer is our 4th fellowship. And when Standing Rock happened, so many things happened that year. Let me tell you first, because like Flint had happened, and we were requested to go to Flint, and we were actually helping Flint residents that were undocumented prepare to file for U visas, because we were thinking the same thing
Okay.
with the wage theft. So that's how we got in Flint. And I guess people saw our work in Flint and saw our work here, and that's how I got requested to go to Standing Rock. Ended up going out there. I was there on the November 20th event, so I was shot at on the bridge, and
Oh my.
yeah, it was intense. It was the most intense thing. It was the most
Wow.
intense thing that I've ever been a part of. And mind you, in 2013, when we brought people home from Mexico, I was actually there and got targeted by cartels. So I was actually in a car while cartels were outside the car circling, looking for us. And I was like ducked down in the car. And I thought that was the scariest moment of my life, like gonna get shot up by the cartels. But then when I was in Standing Rock, like directly getting shot at by like the National Guard and Morton County and all those other police, like I was just like, wow, like they're literally, like I thought they were going to kill all of us that night. Like I thought they were just gonna sweep us, and
Mm.
especially when friends kept telling me like, "Oh, live feeds are getting shut down, they're getting removed from Facebook." I was like, "Yo, they are literally
Oh,
trying to do a media blackout, and they're trying to wipe us out." So yeah, that was intense. That was really intense, and it was another wake up call that our government system, these traditional Democrats, like, I'm sorry, y'all are not doing your job. If that happened, and there were so many Democrats that didn't even talk about it, and I kept getting the same
right.
BS excuse. Well, that's in North Dakota. Okay, but I'm from Michigan. Debbie Stabenow, where you at? Like I'm one of your
Right.
residents. Like I'm one of your voters. Like my whole family is like, and I was over there and I was on the front lines, and you just wanted to stay silent on it. And that was a lot of these Democrats. Like, they didn't want to say anything. So that's when I was like, you know what? Again, like I said, I'm this is the tip of the iceberg. I'm running right now as the first person, but I've been having offline conversations with several activists across the country, and we're planning it out. We're seeing all the open seats for the next 5 years, not just government, but also school board, like literally everything. And we're coming for it. Like, there's going to be a huge wave, and I'm not sure what these traditional Democrats are going to do, but we're getting them out.
Oh yeah, I could definitely see where everything is going in the movement. It's really cool. Oh, I'm hearing some like audio feedback. Okay, I think it stopped now. That always happens on these feeds. Like sometimes you kind of hear yourself. It's kind of weird. Okay, but yeah, I mean, you're doing great work. Is there anything else you'd like to talk about the state that really doesn't get talked about in the media? Because in the media they like pick what they want to say. We're open here.
Yeah. Detroit in itself is experiencing a lot of water shutoffs that doesn't get talked about. So this new
Okay.
mayor that came in, he's been turning families' waters off. And what he actually started to do, which is the most disgusting thing, is if he turned off a house that had children, and if these children, the parents came and complained about their water getting shut off, and they had like the media come or tried to get media or try to tell their story, he was actually calling CPS on those families and getting their kids taken away from them because they didn't have water on in their house, and saying that they couldn't provide for them. So when I say that this man, Mayor Duggan, is disgusting and I don't trust anybody who works for him, like that's what's going on. That's what's not getting televised. And there are some amazing water warriors here in Detroit. Like, man, you wouldn't believe. And a lot of them are elders, and they're black elders, black women elders, and they're holding it down here in Detroit. They are giving the mayor the fight of his life. They come in swinging every single meeting that he has. They disrupt it. They make sure that, like, look, we need clean, affordable water, because a lot of the water here in our schools actually test positive for lead. And actually a lot of the schools here in Detroit, they don't have water fountains. So these kids have no access to water while they're in school because the pipes have lead in them, the pipes have whatever in them. So these kids are forced to bring like their own water bottles from home, buy water or whatever. And I'm like, kids, they can't afford that. You got parents at home that don't even have water on in their houses, and then they come to school and they can't get water there. And it's a huge human right issue that he's not addressing. And I feel like he's using it because he wants to kick long-term residents out. Like I said, he doesn't want long-term residents. He uses this term New Detroit. And when he says New Detroit, what about Old Detroit? Like, you're talking about all this New Detroit, like, hey, there's a lot of people here that built up Detroit. You're just sweeping them under the rug.
No, that's crazy. So that's actually his terminology, New Detroit. Is he like trying to get some developers in there, get some money from them?
Huge developers. He's got huge developers. They actually just built a stadium, the Little Caesars Arena, the hockey arena, and they used all tax dollars. So it was all Detroit residents' tax dollars. Like, we don't have schools, we don't have certified teachers, but we got a Little Caesar Arena that the Dan Gilberts are getting all their money. Like, they got that. It's not even owned by the city. It's owned by Dan Gilbert. It's crazy. It's crazy what they're doing. Yeah.
But we
got a hockey rink that none of the residents can even afford to go to.
Oh yeah, they got to remember that, the ticket prices.
Yeah, it's crazy. And then when these out of folks come into Detroit, like, they leave their trash everywhere. They trash our city. Like, they just don't care. They're like, oh, Detroit, beer bottles here, beer bottles there. Like, everything's all trash down there. And I'm like, really? And then they don't even hire city workers. 70% of Detroit jobs go to non-Detroiters. So they don't even hire our people. So what do we get out of this other than we paid for it?
I guess that's what you guys pay for. I guess that's the only benefit. Not really even a benefit, right?
No. So yeah, so those are the struggles here in Detroit that we're going through, and it's just unbelievable, all the stuff. And I'm sure every city has their things that they go through, but none of the stuff is being televised. And you would think that it would, but that's how we know that media is bought off. That's how we know we need more independent media channels. That's why we need more folks like you, that get involved and just get out
Oh,
here
thank you.
and interview the real people. Yeah, definitely. Like that's amazing. I tell my kids all the time, I'm like, y'all got to get up and just start doing live feeds. just start getting it out there like any way we can.
Right.
As long as Facebook doesn't, turn us down.
Oh yeah, they've been doing a lot of that over my videos, sometimes. But you got to keep on going.
Oh yeah.
So your election is this Tuesday coming up, right?
Yes.
And is there a website or anything that people could go to and donate or volunteer or help out your campaign?
Yes, sam46.com, all spelled out, SAMFORSIX.com. That has the volunteer stuff on there. So if you like to volunteer, I've had amazing volunteers actually all over the country that have been making phone calls for me, which really helps because, again, we're all grassroots. So I'm not trying to spend money on robocalls. And I actually did a study for my master's degree that actually said that robocalls deter certain cultures, particularly I was looking into the Latino culture, it deters them from voting. Because if they get a robotic call, they feel that the government system doesn't care about them. So they're like, you know what? I'm not even, like, it reaffirms to them. They're like, not even a person can call me. So when I got all these robocalls telling me, like, do you want to pay for them? I'm like, no, I'm not trying to get my people to not vote for me. I need real people. So yeah, so you can always sign up on there. If you're in the area, you want to door knock, there's a sign up for there. There's also, yes, you can donate. I've been asking everybody for $5. Like literally, that's all I've been asking for. I don't like to ask my people for money just because I know the struggle. I know what it is to struggle, and we've collected a little over $7,000 so far, and it's been with small donations. And there was only one person that got more individual donations than us. And mind you, I'm running against 9 opponents. There's 10 of us in all. And that person, she's been running for like over a year though. Like she's been preparing for this. And we literally signed up April 3rd, and we couldn't get the money thing down until May. It was in the middle of May, so literally only 3 months of collecting. So I think it wasn't too bad. 7,000 for 3 months. Like I think we did pretty good with it. We were able to get the literature, but yeah, feel free to go onto that website. Facebook is like the best way to get to know me. If you have any questions about me, you can go to my personal Facebook, Samantha Magdaleno, Magdaleno, and you can literally go back to my high school days, and pretty much everything is all public on there. So if you want to really get to know Sam, get to know your candidate, like I always tell people, like go on there and see what I was doing, like see my crazy days in college where I was traveling all over the country and not sleeping and sleeping in cars and all that fun stuff.
Oh wow, yeah. So what did you study in college by?
My undergrad, I went to University of Texas. I got a degree in psychology, and then my master's degree, I got a degree in communications.
Okay, very nice, very cool. I'm studying political science starting this summer. Well, this month. So
Are you
is there
excited?
anything? Oh yeah, I'm excited. I'm starting
What's
at
cool?
Florida Atlantic University in Boca Raton.
Oh, that's what's up. Are you staying on
Yeah.
campus or home?
Yes, campus.
Oh, you're staying on campus?
Yeah.
You're gonna be a freshman? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
We're gonna see less of these live feeds, huh?
probably. But we'll
Hey,
see.
enjoy
We'll
it.
see.
Enjoy it. Enjoy it. No, no, no,
Thank you.
no. Like seriously, in all seriousness, you're a very inspiring young man. I show your stuff to my youth actually because I'm like, look, this is what you could be doing at this age, but enjoy it. We live in a crazy time right now, and I mentor youth as young as 11 years old in how to do community organizing. So I teach these kids like how to get arrested. I teach these kids how to stand up to powerful leadership. And every time I do it, it drains me because, at your age, I was having fun. Like, yeah, I was doing leadership stuff, but I also had a lot of time for fun. And I feel that our younger folks, like they have a lot of PTSD and a lot of trauma because of this president and because of this government system. So when you have the chance, make sure that you take it, make sure that you are having fun. And I sincerely mean that, because this world is getting so crazy that we don't know how long it's going to last, that we're going to be able to have fun, and what state's going to happen in 2020.
Absolutely, and I'm looking forward to 2020. You know, we'll see what happens then. Is there anything else you'd like to tell our viewers about you and your campaign and what you're doing over there?
I just encourage all viewers that if you're grassroots, if you're a person of color and you want to run, or you know somebody to run, please, please get them to run. Look at all your open seats in your communities. Again, like I said, school board, whatever they have open, state rep, city council, whatever it is, run. Just do it. And if you need any help, feel free to reach out to me. Like, I'm there and down to mentor anybody, especially if it's grassroots folks. Like, I'm an open book. I'll give you every single tactic. And luckily my campaign manager and I, he's undocumented, so you know, even if you're undocumented and you're like, okay, I can't run for office, no, pressure one of your allies to run, and just tell them, like, look, I'm gonna be pulling the strings, you're just going to be the puppet out there, because that's basically what I am for Jose. So but make sure we're supporting one another and we're getting the true authentic voices out there. So that's pretty much all I got on my end.
Awesome, awesome. So thank you so much for coming on here. I wish you the best of luck, and we're going to keep pushing your message out.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.